Welcome back to The Price of Business. This is William Edmunson filling in for Kevin Price. And we've got Chris Kidd with us in the studio. Chris Kidd is, of course, with chriskiddenterprises. And we were talking in the last segment about options. And we're going to move on to another topic for this segment.
So what would you like to talk about?
Well, it's been a really interesting political season. I worked at one of the election polls this week, and I worked at a Republican voting station, a Republican precinct, and man, it has really turned out the voters.
Yeah, it's man, politics. Woo, that's now my blood's going to start boiling a little bit.
Mine too.
That's one of those topics that gets really crazy. Yeah, there's been. It seems like there's a lot of people who are getting involved one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
Right now with and it's a very interesting race. I mean, even on both sides, the Democratic side this week was not. It was quite a landslide, but on the Republican side, it's quite a battle being fought.
They are duking it out, man. They are pulling out all the stops, calling the names, talking about people's hand size. It's something like I don't think I've ever seen before. It's really kind of ugly.
Yeah, that's really the thing I hate about politics is how ugly it gets, and especially when I've never liked the whole deal about, okay, this is my team, so I'm going to do what the Republican Democrat deal, and I'm going to go with them just because they're on my team. Versus this is what I believe, this is what I think's right, this is best for the country. But when it's in the primary stuff, I mean, it's like, okay, well, you guys still have the same goal at the end, no matter who wins this, but you're going to trash each other, bash each other, and, tear each other's limbs off.
It is. It's like a cage match in wrestling.
Yeah. And then after all of this, they're going to come endorse one another, or whoever, gets the nomination. Everybody else is going to come endorse them and then try to talk good about them. And let's forget about all the other stuff that I said just a couple months ago.
Forget I commented about how he does this or that, and then on top of that, they're going to want a key position in the new administration.
Oh yeah, and that's what it's all about. Everybody, it's the whole political game, and I really think that's why Trump has really done so well, is because people are so sick of politics. They're sick of politicians, and we know that really whatever comes out of their mouth is, kind of like that joke, how do you know a politician's lying? Their mouth is moving. So
That's right. That's right. Well, and it's not limited to the Republican side, because
no, absolutely not.
It's funny because Sanders, I mean, he's going up against the Clintons in that machine.
Speaking of lying,
they've got it down, and it's going to be really interesting, because once it's down to one person on each side, and unless somebody spins off and does a third party, you're right. We've got everybody making up and trying to get back in the game. So
I think that's why a lot of people, at least younger people that I've talked with, have kind of gravitated on the Democrat side, have gravitated towards Bernie Sanders, is also because the whole deal, kind of like Trump, he's been involved in politics for a long time, though, but at the same time, he's been, whether it is honesty or an act, and he just has tuned into what people where they're at. He understands people are sick of politics and sick of the stuff that's done under the table and everything. So I think people are, or at least some of these people that are running, are tuning into that and understanding. The American people are really sick.
No question. And I think on both parties, the voters are just tired of people, of politicians saying, I'm going to do this, and then they get up to Washington, and it's like they get a lobotomy. I mean, everybody does the same thing.
Yeah, it's yeah, that's one of those things. Everybody makes promises before they go into office, and then once they go into office, it's like, what was that you said? Oh no, that was just so I could get elected. That I didn't actually mean that I was really going to do that.
That's right. Yeah, I was just speaking. Yeah, I misspoke. I like how they often say that. Yeah, it's
my first 90 days. This is going to be done. This is going to be done. This is going to be done, and a term or two is over with, and you're still working on it.
Yeah, and I think they forget when they're making all these promises that things don't move that quickly in Washington, whether you want them to or not.
Yeah, there's hang-ups on everything, and back to the whole political game stuff. I mean, there's things that one side will vote for and then it won't go through, but then the other side will come up with an idea that's basically the same, and then they won't vote for it the next time because the other team presented it and we don't want them to get credit for doing something. And they really, the one deal, and it's not an endorsement for Trump, but the one deal with him, and business is different than politics, because in business you have to work together, or the company goes under and you don't get paid. And in government, they can just sit there and fight all day and still collect their paychecks. So
exactly, and that is important. And I think there are too many career politicians that we see because they go there and the worst thing that can happen is they don't get reelected. It's not like they're, like you say, it's not like they're going to starve or
and then they got their sweet retirement package.
Oh yeah, absolutely, good benefits, good retirement package, and all of that. But no, it certainly has been an interesting political season, and I'm sure that there'll be some more things that we haven't seen before that'll pop up here or there.
Oh yeah.
Well, if you would, switching off of politics, I was very interested in reading on your website, reading a little bit about your bio and the discipline that you had even at an early age with money, saving it, really, doing the old college diet of ramen noodles and water to save your money and put it towards a business. Are those principles that have really helped you in business?
Oh yeah. Really, it all comes down to delayed gratification. And my mentor, one of the things that he taught me early on was the longer you can delay your gratification, the greater that gratification will be down the road. So my goal actually at that time was I wanted to be a millionaire by the time I was 25.
Uh-huh.
So I basically had the mindset that if I will follow this plan, and I'm not going to think of anything except for reinvesting every single dollar that I have, and I'm not going to spend anything that's not going to come back one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously we have to eat, so you need, for fuel, so you can function. So that was where the ramen noodles and the $1 pizza stuff came from, because I needed fuel, but I didn't need filet mignon. So even when I got to a point of when I could afford that stuff, I still didn't do it because I wasn't at my goal yet, and I was still working towards that.
Uh-huh.
And then ended up accomplishing that by the time I was 24. So I beat my time frame by a little bit. But there was actually one night I had a couple of my roommates together. We wanted to go, or they wanted to go get some movies. They wanted to rent a couple movies for the night, and I said, "Well, okay, but I'm not putting my money in. I've pretty much spent my budget for the week that I had."
Uh-huh.
And I said, I'm not taking any of my extra money, a couple bucks to go rent a movie. And they're like, "Dude, you could buy this movie store. Why can't you just put in a couple bucks?" I'm like, "Well, this is not going to take me closer to my goal."
That's right. That's right. It's going away from the goal. Yeah, it's funny, but yeah, the discipline is really hard for a lot of people. And with marketing like it is, and people living the lifestyles that they live all around us, it's really hard to put things off. So, yeah, man, kudos to you, and clearly it's paid off well for you and for your business. Well, we've managed to talk through a whole segment and cover lots of things. So some more fun than others, but both very interesting. But that wraps it up for today's Price of Business show. And check us out on priceofbusiness.com and read more about our radio show and our new Price of Business TV show, which airs on Sunday nights. And check us out at usdailyreview.com. This is William Edmunson for Kevin Price on The Price of Business.